All right, my name is Tyler Lundfeld, and I'm going to be presenting Team JTT's uh, GreenBox presentation regarding uh, where we are thus far, so the stakeholders, the actors, and our candidate use cases. So first are our team members. There's John Jungins. He graduated from the University of Maryland in 2010 with a degree in computer science. He currently works at APL in software development, working on internal tools for naval submarine analysis. Next is Colby Hauser. He graduated from Oklahoma State in 2012 with a degree in management information systems, and he currently works at a K through 12 college preparatory school as a system administrator. And then finally is Tyler Lundfeld. That's myself. I work, or I graduated from the University of Maryland in 2014 with a degree in computer science as well, and I work at APL doing modeling and simulation for ballistic missile defense. So first, we're going to quickly go over our assumptions. There's only two of them, so we believe that our team is only responsible for the GreenBox Systems software component and the requirements and design and implementation that go with that, not the hardware component, for example, how the kiosk would be built or how it mechanically would operate. And next, we believe that anything that's not explicitly spelled out in the problem statement is up for us to decide and interpret. So we have four key stakeholders. The first is the library, what we call the library official. This is basically the person who is responsible for the vision of GreenBox, and the approval of the requirements and the design and implementation that are generated. So the official is basically the one who has commissioned the creation of the GreenBox system. It's the one who pays for it, and therefore they are the ones who are basically responsible for its overall effectiveness. Next are the library employees. They are the ones who are responsible for maintaining GreenBox kiosks, inventory, and providing customer support, etc. And they also stand to gain an increase in efficiency if their jobs if GreenBox is successful, or possibly a decrease if it has a lot of problems. Next are the library patrons. They're obviously stakeholders because they are the end users of the system. They stand to gain the ability to check out audiobooks whenever they'd like, by reserving, checking out, and returning audiobooks at these convenient kiosks. And then finally is our team, Team JTT. We are stakeholders because we are responsible for the creation of this GreenBox software solution. So we report to the official. We're stakeholders because we're the ones building it. We have, at this point, we have laid out 5 actors. First is the patron. This is a member of the general public and the end user of the GreenBox system. You can think of the patron as someone who belongs or will belong to this library and who wants to rent audiobooks. Next is the employees. An employee of the library, they are an actor because they need to handle the addition or removal of audiobooks from GreenBox kiosks. Next is the system administrator. They are the ones who are responsible for monitoring audiobook usage load and for tasking employees for audiobook redistribution. So these administrators kind of keep track of the trends of the system over time and whether it needs to maintenance, things like that. Next is time. So time triggers quite a few actions in the system, such as when reports are generated and when reservations are canceled or fines are applied to accounts that do not return their audiobooks on time. And then finally is what we call the Library Customer System, or LCS. This is an independent information system that already basically existed in the library before GreenBox was created. It maintains patron accounts and things with the library, and is going to be utilized with the GreenBox system for all things that deal with the library account of the patron. Next, we'll get into our use cases. So the first use case we have here is to create an account. The primary actor here is a patron. And the goal is for the patron to create a lending account on the GreenBox system with the library so that they can then reserve and check out audiobooks. Patron may also want to close an account if they no longer want to rent audiobooks. Thus, this use case, we would want to be able to remove payment information for that account and delete that account. Next is to search for an audiobook. So Patron now has an account. They want to find audiobooks that they would like to reserve or peruse the system to see what audiobooks exist. That the primary actor there is the patron. The goal is to search for that patron to be able to search for specific audiobooks, or browse the catalog of audiobooks in order to ultimately find and choose one. Next is to reserve an audiobook. So given that you've found an audiobook that you like, or someone else has referred you to one, the primary actor, who is the patron, would then want to task the system to reserve that audiobook for them so that they can pick it up. Now, if no titles exist, or if no copies of the audiobook exist for that title, or are in stock, I would say, for that title at that time, the patron, the primary actor, can then request an audiobook. So this is basically a situation in which a patron wants to request that the audiobook make them a reservation once that out of stock audiobook, it comes back and is available to them. And the way this use case works is the request will then be queued in a first in, first out basis, and will notify the patron via email that their reservation is started. Next is to cancel an audiobook request. So the primary actor, being the patron here, may request an out-of-stock audiobook, and then realize soon after that they actually do not want to reserve that audiobook, so they can go back on the system and cancel that request. We don't have it listed here, but they can also do the same for reservations as well. Next is to check out the audiobook. So once the primary actor, being the patron, has already reserved an audiobook, they can then go physically to the kiosk location and retrieve or check out that audiobook from the physical kiosk. That's the goal there. Next is to return the audiobook. So the primary actor, being the patron, the goal there is to, once they're done listening to their audiobook, go to that physical kiosk and then return it so that they don't get fined, etc. Next is to update the inventory. So a system administrator, being the primary actor here, wants to update the kiosk system with new inventory, as well as the online system, or delete inventory from the system. Next, individual employees, when tasked by the system administrator, will want to be able to remove audiobooks from the kiosks physically. So so the goal here is basically for an employee to be able to remove an audiobook from a kiosk, either permanently or to shift it to another kiosk. And what goes hand in hand with that, of course, is being able to add audiobooks to kiosks. The primary actor, again, being the employee, the goal being that the employee can physically add an audiobook to a kiosk's inventory. Next is to conduct kiosk maintenance, the primary actor being the employee. The goal here is that the employee wants to keep the kiosk running properly, so they place the kiosk in maintenance mode to do updates and fixes. I mentioned this earlier. This is a different type of cancel. So although the user or the patron can cancel reservations, time can also cancel reservations as well. So the goal here is that reservations will be canceled once a certain amount of time has been passed, that time being 3 days. So the system and time are the primary actors there. Next is charges fines. So the primary actor, once again, being time. If a certain amount of time has passed, we want to be able to have the system charge account holders fines for audiobooks that they have not yet returned during the pre-allocated time limit. And lastly, we want to be able to list system inventory and status. The primary actor being the system administrator, who tasks the system to list the status of all audiobooks in the entire GreenBox system to them, thus allowing the system administrator to make decisions on what audiobooks they want in that system later, or if maintenance needs to be done, things like that. All right, that is the conclusion of our presentation for where we are thus far in week 4 as Team JTT. Thank you, and I hope you liked it.